Welcome to Just Lyrics with Jake Michael. Today's guest is Paul Michael, who has been writing lyrics for a million years and has performed everywhere. Because I don't believe in introductions, I will begin with the first question on this dark and stormy night. When you were like 5 years old, little kid, what sort of music did you hear? What was in the air influencing your later writing something? Hello.
Glenn Miller.
Who?
Glenn Miller. The Glenn Miller Orchestra. 1945 music. Because I'm that old. My father used to play it on the radio, and I can distinctly remember driving around with my father in our 49 Plymouth, and my dad singing Pennsylvania 65000 and having a great time. It's probably the only time I saw my dad really happy.
So how old would you have been?
9, maybe?
9. Okay.
Yeah, let's see. No. No, younger than that.
Okay.
Maybe 6, yeah.
And
So,
where was this?
I can tell you exactly where it was. It was driving down Eastern Avenue in Schenectady, New York, just before we got to the seal test manufacturing facility. And that came on and my dad started to sing. And I was sitting in the front seat with him, looking at the chrome dashboard.
Uh-huh.
And he was singing that song. And, so my father was big into music, but didn't have a very happy life. So that was the one time that I saw him really happy. And I think that set the stage for a lot. And I've listened to Glenn Miller now and, big bands my whole life. And I think part of what I write is, melody-wise, is as much influenced by the 60s and the British invasion as it is by Glenn Miller, for instance.
Huh. Well, I Swan. So what was the first song you wrote that made you think, I can be a songwriter?
Oh, I wrote a song which was recorded with my, was it recorded? Yeah. What was his name? There was a guy who heard us somewhere and called me, and he was the engineer he had formerly been the engineer for Gene Pitney. And I wrote a song called Holly Girl, which I wrote at Christmas time in 1964.
The year I was born.
Yeah, okay, good. See? And I wrote Holly Girl in 64, and my girlfriend at the time was Debbie, and she was really mad that I didn't write it about her. But I said, it's not, I tried to explain it. It was hopeless. But
was it Holly the plant or Holly, a girl named Holly?
Holly the girl. Holly's a girl. Holly girl, you look so fine. Let me know that you are mine. I wish I could play it for you, but you said I can't. So I can't.
I know. It won't come out.
By the way, this is a Fender. See?
Yeah.
I wrote that song, and then some guy had heard us perform it, I guess. He called me. He used to be the recording engineer for Gene Pitney. He now lived in the suburbs of Schenectady in a place called Colony. So my band and I, the Tak-Tiks, went to the Tak-Tiks, T-A-C-T-I-C-S.
That's good.
Went to I never thought it meant Tak-Tiks. I always thought it was like tactics, like you have tactics. Your tactic is too.
It's a double entendre. It works both ways.
Yeah. I didn't even know that. So we went to his garage and recorded the song, and we pressed a demo record, which was the size of a 33 1/3 RPM. It was wax on aluminum.
Uh-huh.
And we took that around to radio stations, and nobody was interested. But that's when I thought, well, I can do something that's decent.
Uh-huh.
And there was another song, and then we got a couple of gigs in big venues, like with the by auditioning for these shows with original music.
Uh-huh.
So, I figured that was good enough. I could write. It's been proven.
That's a pretty good that's a pretty good story. So now, as I'm turning my cell phone off so it doesn't interrupt the show, which I should have done earlier. So let's say, and it's 1964, but you are who you are now. It's not you as not the Paul Michael of 1964. It's the Paul Michael of the current day.
Yeah.
You want a job in the Brill Building. You know the Brill Building?
Not sure.
In New York, that was the building where like Neil Diamond and Neil Sedaka.
Oh, right.
all
Around
the
the corner from the Garden, Madison Square Garden, right?
It could be. I don't even know where it is, but it was where all that like the hit makers were, and they would hire, and they'd have teams of like lyricists and musicians who would. I think Burt Bacharach may have been there. You're trying to get hired. Why should I hire you? I'm Mr. Brill. I want to hire you to work as a lyricist. You need the job because you've got a wife and children, and your child is sick and needs an operation. So you need this job, whether you want it or not.
Oh.
You need it. So
Isn't that enough that my child is sick and I need this job or my kid's gonna die? Isn't that enough? What kind of horrendous person are you, Mr. Brill? If you don't hire me, my kid's gonna die.
I'm just saying, hey, I gotta make a living, so I have to hire somebody who's good. You need to tell me why I should hire you.
Because I'm young, energetic, have a good sense of verse, timing, and meter, and know how to put together a hit song.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right. So, Mr. Songwriter, I've just hired you. Yeah. Can you give me a song that you have an example of a song, and if you have some lyrics you can throw out, a song with a strong narrative elements. There are various types of songs. There's various elements to songs. Sometimes you paint a picture, but do you have any songs, and maybe you don't, where it really tells a story? It's got a strong narrative to it.
A strong narrative. Hold on a second.
You can sing. You can't play the guitar very loud because then everything.
I'm just thinking about which one is, because most of my songs are narratives. And most of my songs are romantic novels about my past life.
Well, a romantic novel could mean many things.
That's true.
Can be tortured love, can be love that doesn't work, can be love that does work. Do you have an example?
I'm trying to think. Hold on. Give me a minute. Give me a minute, Doc. You always would be healthy. Your hair would never gray. You see, you keep your sense of humor, lead a good life every day. But there's one thing that you got to understand. Things will always work out. They might not work out like you planned. How's that?
So what happens at the end of the song?
Oh, a clock comes in.
You have to play the guitar very quietly or else it drowns out your voice.
Oh, the clock comes in. A clock comes in, the ticking of a guitar. Tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock, as time is passing.
Right.
But things will always work out but they might not work out like you planned.
Okay. How about the other end of the spectrum, which is very impressionistic? I always say, like, All Along the Watchtower. I don't know what it's about. I don't care. It paints an image. It provides atmosphere. What songs do you have? Or maybe you don't.
Can't take it no more. I've been lied to. I've been hurt. I've been pushed around and treated like dirt. I can tell you there ain't no thrill. Listen to me, I had my fill. And I ain't gonna take it. I ain't gonna take it no more. I've been somebody's fool, but I ain't nobody's fool no more. That's it.
Okay. So you, more so than I think anyone I've talked to so far, really are into the pop end of it. And I'm not saying that as an insulting thing. You're not a Joni Mitchell, I'm going to sing about blah, 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 personal experiences sort of thing. You are more in the sort of, I heard someone once say about blues singers, it's a haiku. It's just jamming everything into just a few words, and it's real simple lyrics, but you have to like jam a lot into a small space.
Right, exactly.
Now, given that, that's a lead-in actually to, and I can think of a bunch of your songs that actually have this, like strong wordplay, either rhymes within rhymes, twisting words, double meanings, stuff like that. What have you got? And I'll tell you the one that I'm thinking after you tell me what you've got.
Uh, you will never feel so lonely as I do till your baby goes away. You will never feel real heartache till there's nothing left to say. God, I really truly love you. You make everything okay. No, see, that's not what you're thinking of.
No, no.
What are you thinking of?
That's simple. Well, the one I was thinking of, and I think it's yours, I think it's an original, it's something about what the little big head does when the little head does the thinking.
Oh yeah.
Is that yours?
No.
Oh.
No, that's not mine.
I always thought that was yours.
And I can't think of the artist now. Golly gee.
Clearly obscure.
Yeah.
I know.
He's not around very much anymore. I saw him playing to an audience sitting in a chair on a library table in Ardmore. And I can't remember what his name was now. I'd have to go through my records.
Yeah.
We don't have the time for that. So.
We don't have the time for that. Yeah, so that's kind of like the kind of little tricky stuff.
Yeah,
this.
I do like that. I like that because I get really tired of. I'm heavily influenced by the blues and also heavily influenced by the Beatles in my later years. So that's where most of the writing comes from. The blues followed the Beatles.
Right.
And I really hate blues that's like, da 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 da, I woke up this morning, da 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 da. It's got no, I can play a couple of those without being bored, but right away I get bored.
Right.
So that's why I stopped the Blues Recruits and went to the Paul Michael Band so we could have a bigger repertoire.
Yeah.
Something that included more stuff. Even if it wasn't my stuff, even if it was silly stuff, like Little Red Riding Hood, for instance. I really like that tune. And when I found out my bass player, who's an experienced professional musician, Jocko McNelly,
right?
He plays guitar, mandolin, banjo, upright bass, and tuba. And he knows how to score for everybody.
He played on one of my CDs.
Oh, did he really? Oh, okay. So Jocko, that was Jocko's first record that he ever bought was Little Red Riding Hood. And I thought, we got to play that. But it's fun because the lyrics are great. It's all there. It's all there.
Yeah.
And I don't really like just, 1-4-5 anymore. Really, with flashy guitars. The guy that plays guitar for me now, Mike Sproat, is a guitar player who can play with feeling. He's not a technique-driven musician. Yeah. He plays very openly from the heart, and he listens. So he knows what the feeling of the song is when he's performing it.
Who was the guy? I think it might have been Bo Diddley. He's like, I got a turtle stack. Who do you love? Who do you love? I got a house that's made out of
barbed wire, a cobra snake for a necktie.
Yeah. A house that's made out of human skulls, and that to me is like that is just great. Just great lyrics. Or Chuck Berry. Chuck Berry's lyrics are just so great.
Oh yeah.
And people have always said like, who's the greatest, sort of the greatest pop or rock and roll songwriter? And it's like Bob Dylan, and Joni Mitchell, and I will admit to that, but I'm like, Chuck Berry did great stuff, and Smokey Robinson, Smokey Robinson just took very little bit of stuff and just jammed it into just a little bit of space, and like Tears of a Clown is just like got amazing, amazing.
I got on the city bus and found a vacant seat. I thought I saw my future bride walking up the street. I shouted to the driver, "Hey, conductor, you must slow down. I think I see her. Please let me off this bus." Nadine! When did you ever hear, other than this one song, the use of a description of a chocolate-colored Cadillac?
Yeah.
Come on, I mean, really? That's really pulling it out. It's really nice.
Yeah.
But, I don't, that stuff really interests me a lot.
And I once knew this guy was an English professor, and but he was like relating some of these old Blues lyrics to like old, like Elizabethan era songs, because that's when like the slaves were first coming over and learning English and then adapting English. And so a lot of this stuff in like the blues tradition has got like this kind of weird old English aspect to it. It's very interesting. That's all I remember of it. But yeah, so you get this very, subtle stuff hidden in there. All right.
Yes.
Moving forward, since
Go ahead.
And the internet, you can't talk about anything for long because people get bored. Nobody has any. So here is the.
I could take my shirt off.
We only have 20 minutes.
Okay.
What do you think is your hit song, the song of yours that is most popular with the general masses, and why do you think that is a hit versus other things which maybe you prefer the other songs more?
Based on play, I think it's Long Suffering Sam, which is a single that came out last year already, I think it was. And that I think it's a really good tune that uses 1/4/5 to the maximum, and 1/4/5 with a, what is it, 5/7 in it. So
give us a sample, but don't play any of the high strings because they make everything. They'll garble up your lyrics. Just a light strum.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Long Suffering Sam was my name. Now I'm rid of you, I'm not feeling any pain. I used to be your whipping boy, I used to be your dog. Now I'm a happy man, I'm leaping like a frog. Well, you're out of my life, you ain't my wife no more. Long Suffering Sam, that ain't my name anymore.
Good. Good.
And that's a true story. It's about my life.
Yeah, they're all true stories.
No, really a true story. A lot of stuff. I also wrote one that was kind of a Western song about an old girlfriend I had, and that one is a really good one. And Spike McRae, who plays drums for me, thought it was a big hit, but it didn't get much airplay on YouTube.
Yes,
we are on YouTube. If you look under the Paul Michael Band on YouTube, there's 2 albums on there. One is called Finally, and one is called Outsider. And the single Long Suffering Sam is on there, as well as a nice old style slideshow type video that was done by Addison Geary, a photographer friend of mine, when we were recording Finally at Ford's recording studios.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of stuff on there. But I think that Long Suffering Sam is the best in general, all the way around. There's a lot of sappy songs and, I mean, not even Paul McCartney wrote good songs every time.
That's true. You gotta be material. Okay, so now here are the embarrassing questions, which put their key into your soul, I think.
Wow.
What critically panned song, musical group, or style of music are you embarrassed to admit that you like? So this is
ABBA.
something, huh?
ABBA.
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 Good. And what
Well,
is it you like about them? And you just don't have, and you actually don't have to give a rational reason.
what I like about ABBA is their incredible arrangements, their wonderful vocal sense, and their ability to control their vocals, and the complexity of their music in general, while it remains pop.
Yeah.
And it's great driving music.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So, Dancing Queen is fabulous. I once heard somebody do Dancing Queen slowly like a ballad. It was an American male singer. And he played an acoustic guitar and he played Dancing Queen, and it was enough to make you cry. It was so gorgeous because the song, the basic song, is really right there on the money.
Yeah.
And you can do about anything with it. You could probably do it as a reggae and it'd be fine.
And it's a sad song, as I recall. Isn't she like lonely or something? The dancing.
Yeah, I think so.
But maybe at the end she finds somebody. It's hard to say. It's the accents. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Now then, the other thing is
next embarrassing question.
What critically acclaimed performer who everybody loves and everyone, the critics all love, do you just like? I don't like.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't know that Michael Jackson was critically acclaimed.
Isn't he critically acclaimed?
I don't know. Maybe the one album.
Yeah.
I mean, that the one with Quincy Jones. Although with Jackson 5, I mean, that's critically acclaimed.
Right.
You didn't like him even with Jackson 5?
No.
Okay, well then that's good. That's good.
Yeah. I thought that was all too overproduced and glitzy, and I don't like glitz that much. I don't like glitz or flashy guitar players.
Right.
So, I don't like all that I don't know. I just makes me ill.
Okay. That's good, because I don't want for these questions you shouldn't have logical reasons. Although you were pretty rational with the ABBA one, I got to say.
Yeah. Oh, well, I like a lot of different music. I mean, I like certain operas, like the aria to Lawali, especially sung by Wilhelmina Wiggins Fernandez. It's a fabulous piece of music. Opera in general gives me a headache.
Yeah.
Wilhelmina does this fabulous opening, and it's in a film called Diva.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
It's a great film. And I don't like banjo picking music, but I don't know anybody. I can't say acclaimed because I don't know who's been acclaimed in that. I mean, I don't pay attention to it enough to know. So Michael Jackson had to be a choice because he's somebody that I'd heard on the radio and turned off the radio immediately.
Right. Now this is a bonus question. Okay. Because you actually already answered the last question, is where can people hear you online? Years ago, you and I think we met there at a songwriters circle at Steel City in Phoenixville.
Yeah.
Eileen Tipping ran it.
Yeah, we did.
A guy named Bert. What was his name? Bert Ansel? Bert? He was English.
Oh, yeah. I remember, but I don't know his name. No, I don't remember his name. Yeah.
And he came in with a guitar that looked like he had picked it out of the garbage. And he sang these songs with the guitar sort of off key, but he sang these songs about like who's been clipping their toenails in heaven because I can see the moon, and like mother's spit. He had one song about mother's spit. And I remember you just saying, I love this guy. I love this guy because he is so and actually when you were talking about how you don't like things smooth, because he was like he was
out there.
He had no smoothness whatsoever.
Yeah, I remember Bert, but I couldn't, and I mean, he could be passed on by now. Who knows? That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. You remember that so clearly.
Yeah, well, I remember a lot of his songs, and they were just so strange that you kind of wondered whether he was even, you know, aware of how strange they were. He was a character, but yeah, there were times when you just be playing and you just be like, the fine line between creativity and insanity, you weren't sure which side of it he was on. But I remember you just like saying, I love it when he comes in here. And my first thought was, he can't play guitar, but you were so enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, well, at least, I'm enthusiastic about people who try really hard.
Yeah.
Because I'm a hack. I'm not a good guitar player at all. I surround myself by smart people and people who can play and can enhance my music. But as far as including my writing, so, that's why, I think I've always done that, felt that way. And that's why I like that guy, I think.
Yeah.
Also, there was a lot of people playing in that circle who were open tuning single finger players. That would make me insane. I see nothing in that.
Yeah.
I see very little in that, which just proves me says how wrong I am, because that's what basically young music is now.
Well, that's but I actually, that's kind of, as I wrap it up here.
We're wrapping it up.
I know it doesn't last very long.
Wow.
So, huh?
That's a bummer.
Well, it's
you remember those sayings? Don't they? A bummer? That means a bad thing.
Oh, I know. I was alive in the 60s. I was only 5 in 69, but I was, sock it to me. I actually heard that said out loud in my ears.
Wow, that's heavy, man.
I still say man sometimes, and people go, man, what are you? What are you? It's like, no. Actually, I heard people say that. But and now you got me off my train of thought. Oh, which is that actually that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the song, because you on the show, because your songs are, you go into a genre that a lot of people don't do anymore, which is kind of blues oriented, sort of pop oriented, as people have heard you today.
Well,
so that's why I wanted you, because you're actually, I don't know whether you may not have intended it, but people just aren't doing that, and so you're, I don't know, the last of your kind, or maybe you just, maybe that's, in a way, you're not the last of your time, because you could have done what everybody else did, chosen to do what everyone else did.
Right. Well, also, I didn't paint like everybody else. I was a fine artist for decades.
Yeah.
And I painted realistic paintings of automobile engine components.
Actually, I've seen some of those, and some of those are pretty good.
They're in collections. They're in major collections. But did it hit anything? No.
Yeah. Juan Moreau-esque, I would say.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, this has been fun, Jake.
Yeah.
I'm going to suggest that people go to the YouTube site and listen to. We talked about one song that that I think is a good piece that doesn't get much play. It's called The Arrangement. It's on the album called Outsider, with a picture of my dog Greta on the front.
And do you have a web page, or it's just Google search on YouTube?
Just look on YouTube under the Paul Michael Band and look for The Arrangement.
All right.
It'll be there.
So I will end it by saying, Paul Michael, he's not related to me. You write good songs.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you very much
on the show.
It's very nice. I'm so glad to have done this with you. It's been fun.